Hello, hello, and happy Monday. Welcome. Again, it's another beautiful day, and here we are today. Sharing is caring, and we're going to make a little kind of switch or swerve. We're still in the land of nursing. We'll always be in the land of nursing. And as we share, we are making a little change from Monday Moments to Monday Nurses Life. It's about nurses' lives and power moments. So, we always will be talking about nursing, and thank you all for joining me here today. It's so funny. I think, technology sometimes makes me make moves that I hadn't anticipated. So, we are having a little bit of a challenge with our other site doing our Monday event. So we are now on, here we are on Monday, but we are in our group site. So here we are, and we're talking again about nurses and nurses' lives. And there's so much again going on with nursing that we need to talk about things, not keep everything under the cover, and share with each other what's going on and what we can do to help each other make some changes in our lives. And this is a squeak about professional and a squeak about personal, and sometimes they crash into each other and sometimes they collaborate. So, where are we? We talked a little bit on the last time about the nurse in Tennessee who has been charged and convicted of negligence in the medication uh, error issue in Tennessee. And we're waiting till May. May 13th is the day that she will find out what her sentence is. And I am so twisted about that issue. I do understand. An error is an error. That's true. But what can be done to resolve that issue for this circumstance and for the future? Jail is not a rehabilitative solution, I don't believe, to this matter. But having said that, it made me think a lot about nurses' lives, who we are and what we do. And I am so straight on this matter. This is what I believe. I believe that as you come to whatever the resolution is, there's always a bump and a bump in the road. Nothing is ever going to be like, oh, it's black or white and everything is cool. But I would hate to be a nurse that is on the side of being prosecuted for an error. Simply, and this is not simple, but simply because I would be so afraid that the members of the jury, whoever they pick, unless it's a jury of nurses, they will not understand what it is we do. So, in a nutshell, for that example, how does jail time resolve the system problem of a medication error? So, yes, there's a person. Nurses are people. But there's also a system that right now things are topsy turvy in many places. So, if you just look in your mind a year or so ago, what was the resolution for COVID with PPE? What did the CDC say? And what did they say today? And what do they say tomorrow? And what do they change while people are out here dying and or serving with either information that is misinformation or information that changes and changes and changes. Before you can even get the information out, it's changed. So, system problems. How do people know what nurses do? Because that's the new focus for me and for, I believe, a lot of you in the group and in the world. So, how do people know who we are and what we do? We need to get together, and I don't have that so tight yet. Who is the we and what to be done to help the public understand who we are and what we do. If ever they could get that straight, they can look at what it is and what you do and what you're responsible for, and really how much better you can serve them if you work together with them. They understand you, you know what they need because you've talked to them, and the outcomes can be better. So how do people know what a nurse does? Do we tell them? They get you come in the morning and you say, "Hi, I'm Sally. I'm your nurse for today. I'll be back." And they're gone. The nurse is gone. The patient's still there saying, "Well, Sally, I don't even know what she does." Now, put a pause there. And what about the system? How does the system prepare for your success? You, the nurse, and even you, the patient, in that circumstance. If you need to work together, and that's a capital T, together, work together to have a plan for the best outcome for the patient, you need to talk to the patient, and the patient needs to talk to you. What do nurses do? Well, do the patients know? Because from what I can understand and have seen and experienced in the system, nurses are counted like what? Like sheets or meals. You're in the system, you're a part of the system, you're not charged separately, you're rolled into the room charge, whatever you do, error or no error, 5 seconds with the patient or 5 hours, you're charged in the room rate. And like my mom used to say, "Oh, Sharon, you know, like a nurse is a nurse is a nurse. That's what they think." Well, we have different qualities and we have different amounts or types of education and experience. We're not one and the same. And whatever that one in the same is, you're certainly not a sheet and you're certainly not a meal. So you're bundled into a service that no one knows what it is. They don't know if you've been in the nursing profession for 5 minutes or 5 years. So the nurse comes in, they're like, okay, so the nurse must change the sheets and bring my food. And I think they bring my medication, but I'm not really sure. So, what is the value? They don't know what you do. You haven't told them. Hopefully, you can tell them. That's put a point there too. Hopefully you can tell them. But how will things change if you really can't speak to your value? The system doesn't speak to your value, and you're just assessed by the number of patients you take care of. That's plain and simple. That's the value. If you have a nurse and we give her 5 patients and she takes care of them, that's good. And if we're short a nurse, then we have to multiply the number of patients the other nurses have, so all the patients are taken care of, and whatever that math is, if it comes out to 7 or 8 patients that one nurse has now on the unit where they used to only have 3, it's going to be a struggle. It's going to be a struggle for the nurses and for the patients. The patients? Oh, oh, the patients? Oh, yeah, I forgot. It's not just a number. For the system, it's about outcomes for the patients. For the nurses, it's about the number of patients that are assigned to and cared for by a nurse. So if every nurse does the same thing and provides care in the same way, what's the difference from one nurse to another? Are nurses all the same? And that's the topic of the day. Are nurses all the same? And are there differences between each and every nurse? Nurses on one unit versus another unit? Nurses who are licensed practical nurses versus registered nurses versus nurse practitioners, clinical nurse specialists, etc., etc., etc. Are we all one and the same? If you tell your patient, or if someone tells your patient that the nurse is coming, they have no idea what to expect. The nurse is coming. They have no idea. And we're not very good at telling people what we do. Even if I say, well, I'm your nurse for today, you need to help your patients understand who you are and what service you can provide. When you talk to them, that's how you get that communication started. So take a moment to think. Now, let's see, what do I usually say when I go into my patient's room? So I simply say, I'm your nurse for today, and I'll see you later. If that is true, I challenge you to think a little deeper about that brief moment that you could have taken another moment, 2 or 12 seconds, to tell the patient what you do. Who's working with you today? You can introduce the patient to the tech that's working with you today, and you can tell the patient what the tech does, what you are going to share with the physicians. Ask the patient if they have any questions for today that they want to ask the doctor, and tell them when you'll be back. Now, that might be okay, well, I wasn't really prepared for that. So you're going to prepare. It will help you a lot. So the patient doesn't call you 12 times, in, first 30 minutes that you're there, because you've already told them who you are, what you do. You've asked the questions for the day. You may even be able to answer some of those questions for today. So you already know that the patient's going to be discharged today. Have a conversation with the patient and let them know that you'll be doing X, Y, or Z. Following up, you're going to make sure their discharge instructions are written and discussed with them. You'll be able to answer any questions. You'll follow up with their son, daughter, or the social worker, whatever it is. Those few things to let them know that you're on top of everything, for one. You're not afraid to ask questions of the doctor or the social worker, and you are there to help them. You're there to help the patient to have a good outcome. And you want to have a good outcome for today as well. So if you get some of those things out of the way, it could be a better day for you and a better day for your patients. Now, I'm going to fast forward real quick. If you have a good day and your diabetic patient that you're getting discharged has a good day, and you've sat for those few moments in your care plan, this is what you're going to do today. You've made time to go over the medications and the follow-up, what she needs to do for diet, even a few things. How much better can that patient's experience be? And how much better might the patient be able to take care of themselves, do follow-up, and follow through with some of the items that you've discussed? Because it's really hard for a patient who is stressed to be able to be cool and comprehend this big list or bucket of stuff you're asking them to know and do at the last moment. They need your attention and your connection. So those things are important. Now, if you are an experienced nurse, you should know all of these things. But what about our new folks? What about our new grads? What about the other elements of the system? Our new grads are new and they need your help. And the system is kind of struggling with Corona and the changes. Staffing is never a newbie. That's always a problem. It's always been a problem. So the system is just adding that to the pool of problems for nurses. But it's not really a nursing problem. What do you say? Not really a nursing problem. No, it's a system problem. The system knows what you do. The system knows who you are, how many patients they have in the system, the acuity of those patients, the education and experience of each and every clinician. They have that on record. So why is it now that nurses, we don't have enough of them? Well, one big issue. You're not taking good care of your nurses. Dr. Health System, you can do better. You can do better. Because nurses are people too. Why in the world is it so important to value and take care of most of the healthcare professionals, like physicians? Their process and their productivity is looked at individually and they're compensated accordingly. We've got to shine in what we do. And we're not just the nurse. We are never, that's almost, as my kids used to say, a cussomit word. That word. No such thing. I am a registered nurse, and so are you. I am a licensed practical nurse. I am even a health assistant. I am a nurse practitioner, and I am a doctor of nursing practice. And then I use my 3 dots, of course, and then explain a bit about who I am and what I do. I am valuable. I should be valued. I am worthy. I have a boatload of education, a boatload of practice and experience, and I am proud of that. I am not just a nothing. But having said that, we must stand on that and accordingly with the who we are, what we do. Because the system cannot survive without nurses. If we are well taken care of and cared for, that would add to the happiness of each individual, and happy can help build on the performance. If people are stressed out and burned out, how can we expect that nurses are going to be able to be happy, lifting that heavy load, all of those extra patients, all of those extra hours, when we've been counted like sheets and meals on a tray. We've got to do better for ourselves. What about our lives? And I talk about nurses' lives. And you all know me as the Power RN. That is certainly still sure. But it is evident that there is not much care for nurses in many situations. And I'll go back to RaDonda and Tennessee. The American Nurses Association and apparently the Tennessee Nurses Association have put out some statements backing RaDonda, and that's a young lady in Tennessee. But in reality, what is the fix for the crisis in nursing? Because if you're like me, and I know if you're here today, you're a lot like me. We love nursing. We love it, and that's why we do it. We didn't come to nursing to make millions of dollars, though, we wouldn't turn it down, but that's not why we're here. But being acknowledged and cared about and cared for is a human existence. Those are human qualities. We want to be treated like the valuable, worthy, irreplaceable people that we are, and acknowledging our service to the healthcare community. That's what starts the train to the success that we seek in our relationships with our patients, in seeing them get better and going home, in seeing them when they come back to the clinic, they come back to your unit and they just want to say hi and wave at you and let you see that they're doing well. Those are the things that help us, yes, the nurse people, to be better and to do better and to reach out to the new grads who are coming soon and to help those young folks grow into the successful practitioners that they shall be. Is a nurse a nurse a nurse? Not everyone. If I don't have experience in L&D, I don't want to go there. I remember once upon a time I was working in an agency for an agency, and I'm a NICU nurse. I'm a NICU nurse, and that's what I am. So I know NICU. I know that adult people exist, but my experience and specialty is NICU. And I went to get my assignment at the staffing office at the organization that I was assigned to. And I got there and they told me, oh, today you're going to work on, I don't know, I don't think it was 2C or so, it doesn't matter, 2 something. And I said, well, that's not the unit that I'm assigned to. And the young lady at the desk says, well, that's ophthalmology. And I said, oh, what now? Ophthalmology? I said, I'm a NICU nurse. I'm working in NICU. She said, well, it's just the same. You just go and you take vital signs. Well, even if you don't know me personally, you probably have an idea that I didn't go to ophthalmology. That's not the service that I am trained for. And a nurse is not a nurse is not a nurse. And like I said, the nurse is not a sheet or a tray either. So we've got to value our own selves. Be strong in yourself. But, as I say that, remember to be thoughtful and planning. And that's a whole lot like the nursing process now, isn't it? Isn't it? You see a problem? You know we're problem solvers. You see a problem, and then you make your way through the steps to resolve the problem. Whether you have to try one step at a time and evaluate and change the plan and do it all over again. Be thoughtful. Be thoughtful. And we've all got to make sure that we are on the path for other nurses to model what we do, because we're not going to be out here screaming in the streets telling people we need more pay. That most likely won't be the best way to resolve a problem, whether it's a medication error or a system issue. Thinking is going to be the beginning. Once you identify the problem, what is next? What shall you do? And as I said, Florence, Nightingale, she's not here. I just wonder if we ever thought of that, what she would do. But even still, as our world grows, we've got to think of different ways, more ways to gather data, try different things, look at what the technology holds for us, and how things are changing. Telehealth could be a good thing, or it could be a challenge for talking with your patients if they live out in rural Tennessee and they don't have broadband, or they don't know how to use a cell phone. It's a challenge if that's the only way that they can get service. They're going to have challenges, and so are you. If you are the nurse at the one doctor's office that's 20 miles from Miss Jones, who's out in the country. So we've got to use our brains. We have them. We have them. And if you have been through years of nursing school and you have passed your board exams, you are smart. So you can do anything, anything. Position yourself to keep yourself positive and grow as you can. Grow as you can. If you decide you want to be a, nurse midwife and you've been working in L&D, there is a way. If you decide you want to be the public health nurse in your community because you see that people are not getting good information and they're not being served well, help yourself to help them. And that is one thing that I can say to you, all of you. I am going to be that ray of sunshine about nursing. And like I tell you, I love nursing. I wanted to be a nurse since I was 5 years old. And in my kindergarten class, the teacher asked us what we wanted to be when we grew up. And I went that way, and I love nursing. And I also love reading and writing. And apparently now I love talking. And that's a good strategy. Put all that together. And how many teaching sessions can you provide for any patient? You've already got the knowledge. You know how to get the answers. And now you know how to connect with your patients and provide them with what they need with your little shining armor and happy faces. Life is going to be a challenge, but let's not let life run nursing over. We've got to show up and do and say and mean what we say about how nurses can better serve the patients, but each other as well. If you are stressed out and burned out and you make an error, it's going to be a problem. We see that the system does not have any idea how to help us fix that. That's obvious. We've got to come with our own solutions. Our own solutions. Let's get together about those types of things, how nurses can be better, perform better, and it's just like in school. You've had a student or two in your classroom that was struggling, and when test time comes, or they sit in the back of the room when they think the teacher's going to ask questions, they go sit in the back. But it's that teacher's responsibility to help those students. And so we're going to look at ourselves from that vantage point. We are the teachers, or some now. Thank you all for hanging out here. Upcoming people that need to work together to reach out to those others of us who are having challenges in the profession. Whether it's that they're stressed out, burned out, they feel alone, whatever it is, don't leave them behind. Don't leave them behind, because we are family. We are family. Nurses know each other. We don't have to ask, well, what do you do? Well, if someone asks you what you are doing, and you are a nurse, and there's a new grad or a new nurse coming in, you don't ask them what they do. You know, if you're working on cardiology unit, they're here to work on cardiology unit. And that means that you are there to help them, because you want them to be able to help you and the patients in your unit, in the community, and even in the world. We don't have to ask each other, well, what do we need to bring to work? You know what you need. Help each other. And that's the biggest thing. Know who you are. Help others know who you are, whether it's the new patient, or it's the new grad, or the new unit clerk, the new radiology tech. I've had a tech tell me one time they don't touch no patients, and that's exactly how they say it. I don't touch no patients. Uh huh. That was interesting, because they wound up helping me turn the patient. So, how you address your circumstance is a lot about what you know, who you are, and how you share it. So, be happy and smile. We've got to help people, and especially those in our workplace, whether they're the patients or the radiology tech, understand who we are and what we do. And you don't have to hit them over the head with a hammer. You just tell them, this is what I'm here to do. And you let your patients know that, I'm a nurse with, 25 years of experience in oncology or cardiology. It can help them feel safer. And that's another inroad to a better connection. So let's do some of those things. Let's think about those things. And for you and I, the road is going to still be a little bit bumpy, but we've got to have the ability to connect and share with more people in our community and in our workplace to help them understand who we are. I said, you have folks that work with you that have no idea that you are, uh, oh, you what? You went to college? Oh, I didn't know nurses went to college. Well, yeah, we do. And we are smart. And you don't have to say that exactly. But yes, honor what you've been through. Like I said, if you passed NCLEX, you are good, because that nursing school is not easy, and nor is your licensure exam. So let's work together, love each other, and take care of each other, because nurses' lives matter. Let your leaders know as well. How are you feeling today? How are you feeling about what's going on in your workplace? And we will get to talk about work-life balance on next Monday. If you have questions or comments, please, please, please share them as well. And you'll find us next week. We will be back in this place and space. We're going to make a little change and get to the 3 o'clock hour. It's a little dicey for me to do everything at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So we're going to go to 3 o'clock and think about work-life balance. What things can you think about that could be changed that are not that hard, that aren't that hard? Mindset matters. Set yourself in a positive space and place. And what could you change? Even one person in your unit or several people working together to solve a problem. Okay? Thank you so, so much for sharing and caring. It is my pleasure, always, always, to come again to Power in Nursing. And today we are talking about nurses' lives. So, nurse life expert, expertise in nurse life. I've been a nurse a really long time, so I can tell a bunch of stories, but I can also help solve problems. Once we find one, that's the first thing, and I'm sure we have several. Once we find one, let's do the research. Let's talk about it. Let's look at what's been done already in regards to problems like staffing, like burnout, like stress, like work-life balance. We can't let these things just run over us while someone else decides, well, they need this. All right, they didn't even know. Okay, my my leader doesn't even know that nurses in, oncology unit need X, Y, or Z. So now how is that leader going to help us with staffing when we don't have PPE? What? Some things we have to do ourselves, but we don't want to lift up the heavy weight. We will make it the desire to solve a problem. Solve a problem. We're problem solvers. We know how to do that. Because what? We are taught that in school. It's called the nursing process. So see, half the answer is already there. The nursing process. You already know how to solve a problem. So let's work on that. Happy, happy, happy Monday once again. I love you guys so, so much. And we're going to explore ways to make nurses' lives better and happier because nurse lives matter.